Being single sucks sometimes. Hi, my name is Mary. Welcome to Love Notes, where we talk about all things love and relationship and chasing after God's heart in this area. Whether we are single, we're dating, we're married, or we're parenting. I'm here today with some real talk. Being single can suck sometimes, perhaps even most of the times, depending on how long you've been single. Yes, we say a lot, even I say a lot, about trusting God in your season of singlehood and making sure that you're in the right position and that you're doing all that you need to do, that you're continually trusting in God. There is all the stuff we say, and it is all, to the degree that it is aligned to God, it's all good. But there is a practical reality that even knowing all that we know and even believing in God as we do, there are days when it's hard to be single. There are days when it's hard to be the person who's not getting a good morning text or a good night text. There are days when it's hard to be in the office and flowers are being delivered to everyone else except you. There are days when it's hard to be the person who doesn't have a significant other that they can talk about or make reference to. It's hard to see the years going by where God has spoken and you know that you're made for marriage, you know you're made for relationship, but it seems like this thing is just not happening. And it seems like you have more years behind you than you have ahead of you. It can get hard. It does get hard sometimes. And today I want to share just the practical realness of it. Some days it's hard, and that doesn't make you less of a Christian, less of a believer, less of a faith-filled person. It's just the reality of life. Things that God calls us to are not automatically easy, and they're not always easy. There are days when that yoke feels more of a yoke than a light burden. And in those days, one of the things that I would encourage you to do, because it's something that I did when being single got hard for me, is to go to the Lord and be real with Him. Don't try to put up a front. Don't try and steamroll your way through the hardship of it. Don't try and pretend your way through it. Don't try and make light of it or crack jokes about it. Just be vulnerable and honest to God and tell Him, you know what? Today it's hard. Today I'm having a hard time keeping my eye on the promise. I'm having a hard time believing that this thing will still happen. I'm having a hard time being joyful even in the waiting. I'm having a hard time still embracing all the things that you're saying, and yet I've waited for this for so long. It doesn't automatically change your status from single to dating or married even. But what it does do is bring you to a level of intimacy with God that you didn't necessarily have with Him before. Because there are realities in God that we only discover in very unique seasons, such as a season of waiting to transition from being single to being married. There are things about God that you won't see if your promises are quickly fulfilled. There's an endurance, there's a perseverance. There are certain conversations that you can only have with God when you're in a certain space of mind and heart. And I would encourage you to make use of when it gets hard, to enter a deeper level of relationship with the Lord. Because at the end of the day, that's the number one relationship in your life. Even after you find that someone, it still remains to be the most significant relationship that you have. And so you can build on it at any time, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. And think about it this way. At some point, you will enter a relationship, and there are days when it will be hard, even in that relationship, for different reasons. And you will need to know what it looks like to go to your significant other and share, hey, this is hard today, or this is not working today. And what better place to practice than in God's presence? So yes, being single isn't always easy. It can get hard. It does get hard sometimes. There are seasons that it's a lot harder than others. But even in those moments when it's not as rosy, when it doesn't look as the most ideal thing, I encourage you to go to the Lord with everything that you feel. Everything. He can take it. He can take it. Go to Him with all the emotions that you have about your current status and allow Him to minister to you even in that moment of vulnerability. Thanks for joining me today. I'll see you in the next episode.